Hey everyone, Ivy League Gaming here, and today we're playing Awaken Chaos Sarah, and I'm joined by TriggerhappyJon again. Hi, John.
Hi, Ivy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we just actually did a collab for his channel, kind of touching base with me. If you guys remember my very first summons, John joined me. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I'm still sometimes don't know what the hell I'm doing, let's be honest. And that's why he's here. We wanted to touch base, see where I'm at, see how my progress was, and as well as like get some tips for people along the way. And now that he's seen my account, I want to figure out what next. Again, like I have a lot to do. I've had good progress, but where should I actually focus now? So that's or to get over my hurdles that I'm currently at.
So after recording the video for my channel, I definitely get to take a good look at the account, and you've made amazing progress, and you're literally right on the cusp for trying to push into that end game. So as you can see here, guys, she has the right characters. She definitely focused on them, and so that's what we're going to piggyback off of first. Is you have your Queen of Tides team already level 60. So you have the Rodira, you have the Zatlux, you have the Hakron, and you have the Santis. They're already level 60 for you. I do know you're starting to work on your Zatlux and your Rodira, getting their glyphs done and their gearing.
Right.
But once you get those guys done, essentially all Zatlux needs to be able to do for you is he needs to be able to one shot the waves. That's his job. Is he one shots the
Okay.
waves, and then he acts as the decoy for the queen to always put up her like stun lock, right? Which allows Santis to put down the poisons, and then Hakron, he boosts everybody's HP with his ultimate and his defense, and then Rodira just heals everybody. So really, once you get your Zatlux, I would say when you go to get time to like gear him, if you gear him, you hit the 70% crit cap because he only needs that
Okay.
70%. Once you get him to that 70% crit cap, and then you get him about 220 crit damage, somewhere around there,
Okay.
200 crit damage you may get away with, and then about 3,500 attack. Once you can get around that stat, you can really have him go ahead and clear your waves for you in the Queen of Tides. And that's going to allow you
Wait,
to push it because I think you've already completed Queen of Tides 9. Is that correct?
yes.
Yeah. So just by building this guy out here and getting him health somewhere around 10k would be ideal. Defense around 1k, and just his speed to make him go just barely faster than the waves. I think 147 is the speed on the waves.
Okay.
If you can get him to go just a little faster than that, he'll one shot all the waves for you, and then you'll be Queen of Tides 12 farming with no problems. It'll still be about a
Okay.
4 or 5 minute run, but to get going with the gear, because you're right there on the cusp of like getting all the gear. So I would definitely focus on that because this is one character that you need to do. You just need to make that
Yeah.
Zatlux.
Yeah.
Um, so I would focus on that, and then the next step I would say is if you go back and look at like, so you have Nathalia here, and then you have actually an Ice Wolf that you started to work on.
Yes,
If
I
you
knew
scroll
that that
down,
was a thing.
hmm
So I've
so
saved
the
my ice
only
wolf.
Yeah, so the only hard part with this, with that we're going to bring up here for progression is you want that Ice Wolf. You don't want him to have any stats other than speed, so you can leave him right now like at the level 4, and
Okay.
you're only missing one other character, and you actually have an Ash team. So you'll have a
Oh
really
yeah,
strong Ash team if you scroll down to Mary.
yeah. Which I already knew that she sounded good without even looking her. Oh, there she go. Without even
There she
looking her up,
goes.
I knew she seemed good, and she was also light, so that was interesting.
Yes, yes. So she's strong element in a lot of areas. But yeah, her unkillable makes her extremely impactful and very useful on the Ash team. So she's definitely going to be. I would say once you get your Zatlux done, you kind of go. You farm some gear because once you get your gear, obviously getting 6-star gear, no different than any other game. It definitely increases the value and the output that your characters can give you. Once you get a little bit of gear on that Queen of Tides, by building up this Mary, getting her abilities done here, you're going to be able to really push Ash Magisteria, and it's going to be super quick. So you're going to average like 2 minute runs on Ash, and it's not going to take a whole lot of gear. The only thing it's going to be really required is some speed. You have to speed tune a little bit, but for the most part, you guys are going to be speed tuned from the Queen of Tides, anyways. So like your Santis has to go the fastest. After
Okay.
Santis goes your Mary, and then your Ice Wolf, and then your Nathalia. And as long as you follow that structure, it'll be easy, boom, quick, done, and you'll have 2 of the dungeons knocked out.
All right, and so that's Zatlux, and then when it comes to Nathalia, I know cursed gear is good for her, but I don't have good cursed gear yet. That's why we need to get to farming that dungeon. So in the meantime, Zatlux. For as far as
Yes.
just focus getting the stats, don't worry about sets for him. Really, just get the stats. And same
Yep,
thing
just
for
trying to
her.
hit
Stats over sets, kind of just get them to do damage.
exactly. Yeah, just a little bit of stats over sets. Because what happens is you focus too much on your sets, and it's just too hard,
Hmm.
right? You just don't have the
Yeah.
gear. Like I'm. So, for example, I'm a lot of days in. I'm. It doesn't even tell me on my achievement level how many days in I am. But I've been playing since day one of soft launch. So that was back in Thanksgiving of last year. And I'm just now to the point where I farmed enough gear to where it's like, okay, yeah, I don't need to worry so much about farming my dungeons. I have the gear. So given that, I think you're 41 days in, it's going to be hard for you to be able to do the same exact thing as me and say, oh yeah, I got plenty of gear, right?
Yeah, I
But yeah,
don't.
just by getting those just stats in general, you'll get those gear sets, right? Because right now, Queen of Tides and Ash are going to be the two best dungeons for you to farm.
Hmm.
Queen of Tides is the easiest. You've done a lot of the prep work for Queen of Tides because you already have your Santis, you have your Hacker, and you have your Odira, and Zatlux already 60'd, which is going to give you a lot of it gives you that leg up on your stats because you've already 60'd them. So their base stats now are higher. So your percentage on your gear is going to make a big difference. So it's going to be really easy for you to go ahead and progress that. So just by getting a little bit of glyphs too, that'll just guarantee the extra winningness of the runs here. But yeah, I mean, you're
Mostly,
right
yeah.
there, and just focusing on getting the stats in general is going to be a big difference versus getting the sets.
So I think I should probably max out my glyphs before I even worry about fully building them because the glyphs affect your stats so much, right? Like instead of trying to get the perfect speed and the perfect crit rate, like you're gonna get those with the glyphs too.
Yes, so glyphs do a lot for you, mainly because they're just adding like extra bonus stats that really, like for example, Zatlux. When you take Zatlux all the way up and you get him like to tier 5 glyphs here, he has glyphs on his tier 5 that I'm looking at on my account. That's like a
Mhm.
5% crit damage boost, a massive
Nice.
health and attack boost. He's got over
Okay.
10% crit damage just influenced with his glyphs, which
Okay.
definitely makes it easier. Plus, he has a crit rate. So by getting his glyphs up right now, then yeah, you're gonna lower that gear requirement, right? That's
Okay.
essentially how a lot of these characters works is by upgrading your characters to 60, or even just upgrading them in general. Once you go to do their glyphs, you're really the more glyphs you do, the lower gear requirement you're really imposing on your characters. So yeah, I would
Okay.
definitely say if you can do a little bit of glyph farming and live in there for a little while, that would definitely be super beneficial for those characters.
And what about him being unascended? Still worth it to max him out or wait until I got ascension on him?
It's still worth it. Obviously, he does do a lot more damage when he is Ascension 2, and that's because this Ascension 2 essentially gives him an attack up for one turn once he kills somebody. So you let him attack somebody weak,
Okay.
and then he gets that attack up. However, when you're going to be running him in Queen of Tides, it doesn't matter because the Queen of Tides, those characters are all water element anyway, so he's going to be strong element.
Okay.
So he's automatically going to get that extra little bonus. So it's not the end of the world if he doesn't have that attack up. Obviously, yes, once you do get him ascended, he is going to smack for you because he only needs 70% crit rate. So he's super easy to really scale. Like my Zatlux is over 300% crit damage because I don't have to worry about 30% of crit rate. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So, but yeah, you'll definitely you'll hit super hard with this guy, and he's totally okay to use ascensioned or not ascensioned. Doesn't matter.
All right. Now, the other question I have is my actual game hurdle here of
Mhm.
this lovely guild boss. Now, if I focus Zatlux and work on stuff, like, is he just going to be able to help me there too? Like, don't worry about building. Should I build specific people for guild boss, or should I just focus my core people, make them better, period, and that should get me here? What do you think?
So here's what I've kind of noticed. So I kind of neglected the guild boss a lot. I hit the same hurdle you did, and as soon as I hit that level 20 chest, I kind of forgot about guild boss. I let it go by the wayside because the rewards aren't great, but it's really impactful for newer players to complete their foodie guide quest, right? Like you want to get all your free resources from these, so you need to hit that level
Yeah.
20. But what I'm noticing is I'm able to take a lot of the same characters into a lot of these fights and only build one or two characters to be guild boss specific. So, for example, Jacob and Scarlet are really, really good fire element damage dealers for like the
Oh yeah, I
wood
don't
guild boss
think I
that we
have
currently
them.
have.
I don't have them, I
But
don't
this is
think.
going
Do
to
I know?
expire, and I think the next
Oh
one we're going to
yeah.
have is actually going to be the water one. I think the water guild boss is next in the rotation.
Oh, so that's good for Antuna
Um,
here. I was Antunua, if I could say her name right. I
exactly.
swear.
So she is going to be the easiest one. So if you can hold out until the water area,
Okay.
she will help you go all the way to level 20 super quick and easy. And the only thing that I really noticed is like I was able to bring in like a Hackran, a Rodira, and just another tankier champion
Oh,
and only
okay.
use
And let
one
her be.
DPS.
Oh wow. All right.
Yes.
I wasn't sure about that. Okay.
So because the way her stats are, so I would definitely build her as a guild boss specific champion because
Uh
she's just
huh.
a super strong single target nuker. And what she brings to the table is as long as she has unicorn blessings up, she's going to do 2 attacks. And if
Hmm.
you get her in some decent curse gear, then she can do. I've seen her proc. I don't know, like I think I've seen her go all the way up to like 6 attacks in one turn, which is just insane. Like you want to talk about getting to Guild Boss 20 quick. Antonua will definitely do it for you when facing the Water Guild Boss. So I would definitely focus on building her. It looks like you already knew about Antonua and you're kind of getting her ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's going to help you so much with just doing that. And I've noticed there's a
But I
lot of
don't have the
guilds like,
gear, sadly. Like that's my curse gear
yeah,
isn't good enough yet. That's so it's same. I'm just gonna have to build her for stats over sets for the meantime, right? Just make her hit hard. What speed do we need for
exactly.
the guild boss? That's one I haven't figured out yet or asked her. I guess researched enough.
Um,
Do
I
you
don't
know?
honestly know. I know I have champions that are slow as 123 in the guild boss, and they still go before the guild boss.
Oh, really? I was super worried about how
So
slow
I
I was having her. So
yeah, so I
okay.
don't think, and don't quote me on this, but I don't think it really matters too awful much. The hard part is I really should kind of figure this out, but I know speed is not super impactful with the rotation, which is probably why I haven't had to take the time to determine what speed he is yet, because a lot of my characters
Yeah.
just end up going faster, right? But but yeah, I mean, like I said, I have characters that are like 123 speed and they still go faster than the guild boss. So I
Okay,
think
that's
you're
good
going
to
to be
know for the
okay
guild boss. All
regardless.
right.
Yeah.
Does his stats? The only thing that changes with the guild boss as he level is it just like his tankiness and his attack, or is like none of the other?
Um, so it depends. Each guild boss has a different rotation that they do, right?
Oh,
So when you click on
okay.
the guild boss and you go to the battle,
Hmm.
you can see exactly what they do. So
Okay.
like for example, Wood Guild Boss is triple strike, deals damage to an enemy, grants a bonus mech slam attack if the target is weak against this character's element. So he's going to attack additionally to weak element characters, right? So he does something different. Whereas I want to say the Water Guild boss will actually
Let
cleanses
me can't see
debuffs
it.
off of himself and just grants a higher attack each round. So it definitely each one changes,
Okay.
but like this wood one attacks to remove one positive effect from the target. So literally, this wood boss can strip your like unkillable buff.
Okay.
So each guild boss is doing slightly different mechanics going forward, but they're all every round they should be increasing their attack. It's just a matter of how much is that scale for you, because you'll notice that they get an attack buff, and every round that you're going into the battle, that buff is going to tick up one more. So you'll see it kind of in the tally, like it's attack +1, +2, +3, and that'll kind of correspond with the amount of rounds that are in.
Okay. Alrighty. Yes, that sounds good. So I'll yeah. So I'll focus him, but in the
Mhm.
meantime, when it switches, throw just steal gear from other champions and try her out. Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's one of those mechanics where I really wish we didn't have to worry about swapping the gear like that.
Okay.
But yeah, unfortunately, it's just one of those
But it is what
things.
it is.
Exactly. You are aware though you can save teams. Did you know you can save teams? So that
Yeah,
way
I
you
did,
can.
and then
Okay.
I need to like delete them or something because they're like not even what I use anymore.
That's fair. But yeah, that's kind of what I do is I just save my teams and then I'll go, okay, yeah, I got this team and this team. I need to go steal this gear from them. Like I put notes in my labels. Um,
Okay.
like I used to have to use like I didn't have enough gear to use Nathalia and another character at the same time. So I had that team, and then my note was
Right.
like I think it was like Ash 12 swap like swap amulet or something like that. And that was my note to myself.
Right.
Then like
Okay.
then that would trigger it in my head like, oh yeah, I gotta steal gear from this person to make this work.
Okay, that's good. You can make notes. I like that.
Yeah, it sucks because you're limited to like the title name, so it's not like you can make super long
Oh,
notes,
okay.
right?
Funny. Yeah.
But I mean, as long as you can think of something witty that helps you go like, oh yeah, cool. I'll just reference back to that, or this will trigger my memory. It does make it a little easier, especially for newer players. So
And I know, like, it's kind of going to be. Maybe I can think of this like faction wars. Like when you in raid, when you're doing faction wars, you have like your best stun set. When you go on to the next thing, you swap that stun set. So if I'm not using Valeria and Avira at the same time, I could put my best Avarice set on whichever one I am using, right? Like that would be. So I'm actually thinking I should, once I get Zatlux built, I could use Zatlux plus one of the girls, depending on affinity. And then that way, instead of having one thing, like two characters that need the same set in the same rotation, or the same squad or whatever, I could just have one of them plus Zatlux. And then I could probably benefit a little bit more from the strongest gear possible.
exactly, and that's what I was doing for a long time. Is I was just kind of pairing up characters with their gear,
Yeah.
depending on what their base stats were. So, for example, like Imogen and Nathalia have almost the same stats, so I was
Oh,
swapping their
yeah.
gear a lot of times.
Okay.
And then Nathalia and Avera, once both fully glyphed out, have the same bonus and crit rate. So I could
Oh, okay.
easily swap their gear. Granted, yes, it's
Interesting.
not avarice, right? But
Right.
just starting out when it doesn't really matter so much, and you're just trying to like get the best gear. Once again, gear over sets. When you're just trying to
Yeah.
do stuff like that, it's good to kind of compare characters at the base level to say, okay, well, they have the same crit rate bonus, so I can easily swap from this character's gear to this character's gear, and it's going to give me my 100% crit cap. Which is essentially what you're looking for in your DPS. Like as long as you're crit capping, then hopefully the attack percentage or the crit rate or crit damage percentage transfers over, but it'll be closer than it would be if you tried to re-gear like and have gear on both characters. You know what I mean?
Okay. Oh, I have one more noob question for you.
Yeah.
So I've got
Perfect.
Hacker into A2.
Okay.
That's what he kind of needed for that skill improvement. Now, I've got
Yes.
another Hackrin. Should I save him for doing the other hero synthesis? Because right now I could actually make a Tia. Or like, well, he's
Ooh.
not a part of that one, but I could
Yeah,
make a
but he's
Tia right now with those people. Or should I
Mhm.
save Hackrin for one of these other future, or should I max him out first
So
before bothering?
I would max him out first just because he's going to help you so much on a lot of content. So Hackran's useful in Guild Boss. He's useful in your dungeons. He's very, very
Okay.
useful in Arena. I know you have been dabbling in the Arena a little bit, and it looks like Hackran may get nerfed a bit in Arena.
Yeah.
But he's just so impactful that it makes sense just to go ahead and max him out and
Okay.
then worry about it. Because, like for example, like Cyrus, which is would be probably be the first fusion you would do using Hackran.
Yeah.
She's a great single target nuker for fire. The problem is you don't really have anywhere that you need to use her on. You're not going to farm
Not yet.
Tulpa a whole lot,
Yeah.
so it's just one of those. I would focus on getting the Hackran maxed out first, and then worry about the Cyrus. And even then, you can make a lot of Hackrans too. I don't know
That's
if you've
true.
looked into how many
Oh
that you
yeah,
can
I
actually
have
make.
I have a lot of the people from
Yep,
Familiar.
exactly.
And he's
And that's what I
farmable,
kind of
so that's not too
yep.
bad.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I did. Is I literally sat down one day and I was like, all right, how many of these guys can I make? And I did it during a hero promotion event, which it looks like you've definitely been taking advantage of these events because your hero
Yeah.
promotion was complete. But I literally sat down one day during one of those events and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to work on fusions today. And I just fused all the hacker and all the Santas I could and actually completed my event. And I think I got my hacker and I almost maxed him out with that one event, which is really cool.
Nice. Okay.
But yeah, I would definitely focus on maxing him out, get that done, and then go worry about your other Legos just because he's going to be so well used in a lot of different compositions and areas in the game that he's definitely someone to focus on right from the get go.
Okay. I'm so tempted to get Tia too because I can now if I just level up the foodies and stuff for this. But or not even foodies because you have to get them to level 5, so I would level up others. But it's like one more
Mhm.
person I don't have time or resources to work on right now. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I need to
Yeah, and you have a lot
focus
of
a
good
little bit
characters to
better.
build up still. So, but Tia, I would say once you hit that Void Tower, you're gonna want Tia. I
Yeah,
just released a Veiled Shot
crowd
collab that I
control.
did, and Tia was the MVP for level 60 Void Tower hard, and it's because
Nice.
that Frozen,
Mm-hmm.
Frozen. I mean, it works just like we would expect it, right? They can't move or they can't do anything, but they take 50% more damage from all sources while frozen. So it's like a built-in defensive down on the character when they're frozen, on top of if they already have a defensive down or whatever the case may be. So they take so much more damage from these frozens, and Tia is like the most reliable person to place them. So
Oh,
she's a
great.
huge Void Tower comp champion. But yeah, so I would definitely focus on her, but not until you
Not
have
yet.
like all your other
Yeah.
resources done. Yeah, I would get
Worry
those
about
going, and then you
the
can do Tia.
important dungeon farming before I worry about hard or void tower. Okay.
Exactly.
Woohoo! All right, well that sounds good. I feel like I have a better grasp because, like, on my head, I was like, I think I have to do Natalia next, but then I still haven't got her A2 yet. I know I want to,
Hmm.
but
Yep.
sounds like it makes more sense to focus Zatlux and Hakrin and get all of their stats up. And I think like I said, I still have to finish getting up the glyphs on. I think her as well. So I still have a couple more people to finish glyphing.
Hmm.
And then I can try to push some cursed gear for her and for Ansanua as well. So that could be a set that's hopefully used for both of them if I can just get one solid stat with some good crit damage.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Get one set, and then you can swap them back and forth, and you're good to go. But
All
yeah,
right.
and even then,
Yeah.
if you somehow wind up to get another one of those purple potions, I would definitely use that on Nathalia before you use it on the
Yeah.
Zatlux.
Okay, that's what I was
Just
gonna do.
mainly, yeah, because mainly because Nathalia, just gets that extra 10% damage boost once
Hmm.
she hits that Ascension 2. So it makes a big difference in the amount of damage she does. And essentially, once you get her enough stats on her, like, enough buffs, it'll
Hmm.
turn her what is that? I believe her ultimate is a 200%. Yeah, it turns her ultimate from 200% to 240%, which is a big increase, right, in damage.
Okay. It's funny. I maxed her out, and she's not. I'm like, I wish I should have maxed Zatlux out. Well, it's okay. It's
That's
fine.
okay.
I'll use it.
It's all
It's
right.
worth it.
They're both
I'm gonna use her either way.
exactly. You're going to use both characters either way, so it doesn't matter at what order you do it. And really, you can throw any type of random gear on Nathalia, and she's still going to be super impactful for farming for glyphs or farming for anything. So
Yeah, if you just
either way, it was not a bad
bully
investment.
your way through in the farming more so than just try to damage
Yeah.
versus crowd control. Except there's a couple, it's so
Exactly.
weird. There'll be like, I can farm 10-1 on auto,
Yeah.
mythic, but I can't farm like 8-7. I don't know, like, I don't know. You're like, okay,
There's a
fine.
few, yeah, there's
Like,
a
I don't
few
know.
that hoodwink you a little bit. Like there's a
It's
Santis
weird.
level in there that's a little hard, and then there's
Oh,
a Savannah
yeah.
one, and they kind of hoodwink you just a little bit. You gotta slow down and go, oh crap, it's this one. Okay, let me swap around these two
Yeah.
characters. Because yeah, I would run into the same thing. I'd set it to multi battle and I'd walk away. Like I had one comp that I was using for all mythic, and it works really well. Unless I came up to one of those situations like you were just describing, where it's like, yeah, like 8-7, I couldn't do it or whatever the case may be. It's because Santis was in that one, and like she just killed my whole team. Like I needed to
Yeah.
swap two characters, and then I could easily do it. It's like, oh man. So
Cool. Alrighty, well, I think we can wrap up for now, guys. If you've been watching this one, like, and you missed the beginning or you're scrolling around, make sure you go to John's channel for watching the first part of this, where we took a look at my account overall and gave some more tips, and he just overall, I don't know, it was kind of fun to see what you thought of my progression, because I didn't know, like, am I doing good? Am I not doing good? Most people have been saying I'm doing good, so I was happy to
oh
see
yeah.
that, but
Oh
there's a
yeah,
lot.
content creator confirmed. You've been doing a really good job with progressing with your account.
Yay!
So
Thanks to your help, I've had a lot of great advice from people like Rex Hart has been popping into my chat, Vald Shot's been there, you're there, and Hannes is there. So I have all my content creator new friends hanging out, and that's really helpful to get some good influence. So, yay, all the people.
that's right. Hey, I'm always happy to help. You know that it's
Thank
always good
you.
fun. Always good fun getting on the channel and working with you. Yeah, it's definitely been a fun and exciting adventure that we've both been on. So
Yeah, I like this game. I plan on sticking around. That's for sure.
nice. All
Alrighty,
right.
well, I'm
Well,
gonna leave it there. Yeah, thank you for joining.
thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, everyone. So I will catch you in the next video. Go to John's channel next. Or first, I should say, but it's probably too late if you... it doesn't matter. Watch the video if you haven't. Go to his channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video.